Start with the juice.
Oh, it feels good to be back to practice, doesn't it? It was good. Same thing as the spring. The guys giving them out. Cyrus Webster gave it to KT. You guys just asked him starting his 6th fall camp. He's been here a long time. He's actually, I looked it up, the longest player I've ever coached. So excited about what he's brought to the table. And Meredith gave it to Kyle Williams. I think Kyle's had a great offseason. He's really invested himself in the weight room, and it's been fun to see him apply it on the field. And I did day one, Stephen Hall. He's emerged as one of the best leaders on this football team, and not because of what he wants to accomplish, but what he wants that group and those corners to do. And I think he's just given his wisdom and his leadership every day, and I thought it was really evident today on the first day.
I think you run a little young on young there at the end of practice. Is that going to be something you guys do every day? And who'd you kind of like out of it today?
So the first 4 days, we're really investing tons of time, and we did at the end of summer as well, to try to identify, just like every year, 4 to 6 guys that can really help this team now. And to do that, you need to give them reps and coach them and see what they're capable of doing. Chris Barnes continue to stand out just as a guy in the slot that maybe can compete earlier than not. AJ Hassan, I believe he has an opportunity to play himself into one of the top 10 offensive linemen on the team as an early freshman. Evans just needs a ton more reps, but you can see the talent. It's really, really evident. He had a deep touchdown down the side. So until I see the tape, I don't know specifically, but those guys I thought did some good things.
What did you see out of John and Zevi today?
Let me watch, because I was watching a lot more things today, Greg. Just like, can we break the huddle the right way? Can we transition from station to station the right way? Can we finish? Well, how is our body language? Those are the things I think on day one that are important. But I think those guys are out here competing. They know what's at stake. They're both ultra competitors and excited about what they both bring to the team.
You mentioned Steven and just like how much of a leader he's grown into. He didn't play a whole bunch last year. So where do you think that kind of comes from, and like why is that so easy for him to kind of come around to?
Because he's got a great story now about perseverance, about not getting what you want immediately, staying the course, and it says a lot about who he is as a man, not just a football player. So, last night we talked about it. Everyone's out here to carve a role on this team, but you talked to Steve, you talked to Jamuri. What was your role game one? It was nothing. What was your role at the end of the game or end of the season? I was starting. So you got to stay the course. He's got a great story to share, and I think his personality is really coming out now because he's very comfortable.
What was your mood being out there today? Just how does it feel to be back?
Feels great. I think ever since, Dean made the final kick in the spring game and Team Crimson won, been waiting for this moment. A lot of preparation goes into this point. But what I told the guys, my plan didn't make it great. Their purpose and intent to the work makes it great. That was the best first day of fall camp we've had since I've been here, and it's because they went out there and wanted to do it. Not me, they did, right? It's got to be player-led, not coach-fed.
And we talked to Kyle. Of course, he's been here a long time. How does his presence, his leadership, and others like him help your defense, your team have a good day like today?
Well, I think the cool thing about Kyle's story isn't just that he was a walk-on and now he's a starter. It's that he's still getting better. We talked about that yesterday. Coach Ben gave him one of the awards. Every day he comes out to get better, and he has done that, whether it's physically, mentally, as a leader. Proud of that kid and what he's going to give us this year.
I know you just mentioned that it relies on the players to kind of bring the energy, but now that you've run a few fall camps, is there something that you want to see or something you might do differently than you did in the past few years to maybe try and ratchet it up a notch?
Well, I think we invested more time in the summer before we got out here today, so it's going to allow us for a kind of a smoother ramp up. We've never done just 15 periods on day one. It's always been 18, and then we got into 21 by Saturday. We won't get to 21 periods until Monday. So just know our guys know coming out here, these physical reps are everything. Right? I'm going to take a little bit off your plate, but the intent of how we do it, don't just get by, let's go at maximum capacity. We're going to do a lot of situational work as we go. I told the players, can't find out in a tough situation game one who you are. You have to show us every day, and it's my job to make it really hard on you to reveal yourself.
All the guys we talked to said that even though they've gone through the first day of camp however many times, even dating all the way back to high school, they're still excited.
Oh, yeah.
This may be a question that kind of answers itself, but how important is it to have guys that just love getting out on the field and not looking at it as just another day?
Well, seeing this group all the way since January, I've said this multiple times, they understand the competition that's happening around them, but you can never lose your joy, your purpose, your why. You got to understand why you put yourself through so much hard work to get to this point, because at the end of the day, it doesn't just matter how much we bench, how much we power clean. You got to get that to apply on the field. And I think we took that step today. Really proud of Coach Anakioni and our staff this summer. But those guys are ready mentally to go out here and give their best, and excited to see what this group can do as we keep going through camp.
There's a few new rule changes this year, 2-minute warning, helmet communication, and tablets on the sideline. What are your thoughts on those, and how are you going to implement those into training camp?
Well, I got a manual about this big for the 2-minute warning, right? And kind of went through that whole thing analytically and what that means and how it looks like, and we got to rep the heck out of it now. We didn't do as much of it in the spring, but coaches, timeouts, it's kind of simplified, a little bit of offensive strategy as you look at it. Defense has been way different. I think the helmet communications, we just got ours on Wednesday, so we're breaking that in first day today. I think it'll change the game a little bit, but also the helmet communication shuts off with 15 seconds left. You know, a lot of times our style of offense, we're going to try to get you to show your look and change plays late. So we got to navigate how that works from Ben to the quarterbacks and vice versa, and how much we need to signal. And then the tablets, you know, we still haven't gotten a real trial run with those things yet. So there's been seismic shifts in our game pretty much every couple of weeks. But the technology piece is here. Excited about using it to our advantage.
With the helmet communication piece, John said at the beginning it was a little overwhelming hearing so much in his head. Is that something you like to see these guys kind of go through the fire and learn on the go, or is there ways that you and the coaches can kind of smooth that process for them?
Well, because we are not using it on defense. I don't know how much it really applies, and I think you got to get those guys, like I said, playing a certain way without you talking too much in their head. So there is a balance. I talked to the quarterbacks about making sure you're giving us feedback. Hey, I need this thing. Hey, this was too much. But I think it takes mature people to be able to communicate that way, and Coach Arbuckle has those relationships. So it's a work in progress, and we'll see how this thing keeps rolling. But that first scrimmage will be big to really get the mechanics of all those things.
And you mentioned Kyle Williams and the work he put in the offseason. How has he kind of grown as a leader as well for that wide receiver group and kind of being the guy among that group now?
I think when you really look at the group, excited about the athleticism, but he's really the only proven guy in there. You know, he really is, as a proven starter and the longevity of it. So, but you can't just be about yourself. I showed him a clip this morning about a guy from the NFL. When you're a great player, show other people how to be great players, right? And why you're a great player. And then we get a team of great players. So I think it's really imperative that he kind of looks at the big picture, which I think he has, and continues to really keep that scope. Because when our team's the best, that's when Kyle's going to be at his best too, right? You can accomplish great individual things within our team vision. And that's not for Kyle, that's for everybody. But I think he's done a really good job of that so far.